Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast, your one-stop show for all things finishing and coatings. Your host, Zach, and a variety of industry experts will guide you through the art of perfecting your finishing and business game. From seasoned pros to fresh faces, get ready for tips, tricks, and trends to elevate your knowledge and business to the next level.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. Today's episode, we have got Mr. Konstantin Udalov with Constanta Group out of Vancouver. What's going on, Constantine?
Oh, good, Zach. Happy to see you, bro.
Man, it's nice to see you again. I know we used to talk quite a bit when I had my finishing company. It was almost like on a weekly basis we were talking about something.
That's right. Well, we got on a really good product, thanks to you. That was Polystuck, brand of it's a sub brand of Circa, I believe that was, and we've been running that label, that red label, for almost a couple of years or so. So thanks to you, and I guess that was actually one of the first things we really talked about. That was a lot of conversations.
Yeah. So are you guys still running the Polystuck, or did they, because I'd heard they were going to kind of do away with it?
Yes, correct. I think they're replacing it right now with another production line, differently branded, done by Circa, but Polystuck is probably discontinued. So they're trying to get rid of it, as far as I know.
The people that I talk to, whether distributors that still do some stuff, they say that the rumor is there was quite the big backlash when they told everyone. So it's going to stay fairly similar, but it's going to go in a blue can instead of the red Polystuck can. I don't know if they're trying to, make sure they differentiate themselves from the Icaro cans or whatnot. But, I've heard the formula is going to stay pretty much the same, but they're bringing out a production line under the Circa name.
Yeah. I'll give you my opinion on this off the cameras, because I don't want to throw out any information that's not correct that might hurt some companies and some people. I have a really good relationship with Pat Abernethy, and some of the other folks at Gemini. So I just want to stay very politically correct.
I understand completely. No worries. I was been saying that's been the fun part of switching over to the podcast. Not like necessarily making anybody mad, but it's been interesting getting a whole bunch of different perspectives on whether it was with the Centurion brand that I was helping build, or any of the other brands. I still talk to a lot of the guys from Gemini. I still talk to Pat Clary, he left and went to a concrete company down in Florida. And it just, in general, all of them, it's interesting because you get a different perspective when you're on the outside, you're in the industry, but you're not really in the industry right now. So I've kind of enjoyed all the input on the various brands jumping around and stuff. It's been interesting.
Yeah. And just to throw a little bit of a hook to get everybody more interested in this conversation, I'll try to be brutally honest about everything: products, characteristics, failures, and everything related. And the only reason why I said what I said is because I don't want to throw out any disinformation. Like, I just want to be, when I know something, then I talk about it. When I don't know something, I would rather stay, I would rather get informed first, and then I would say something. So I'm just not sure exactly what's happening behind the curtains with the Polystuck and everything. But I'm just saying what I know. It's been said by Gemini that product will be discontinued and will get replaced by the other label. Yeah, I'm really happy for you, man, doing all this stuff, all this show. I've been a fan of yours since you showed up on my feed on Instagram, saying pretty much the same, like doing the same intro every single time. What's up, everybody? This is Zach with what was the name of the company?
Davis Painting.
Davis Painting. Here's what we have going on. We have this spray guy doing some stuff, and we have that guy. And it was so interesting for me, and it was so intriguing at the same time. It was so dumb. I'm like, why is this guy talking the same stuff over and over again? Who's interested? And then I realized over time, everyone's interested, because it's
It's just
real life
consistency.
yeah. Consistency, but it's on the same at the same time, it's your real life. Like, this is how finishers live day to day. We have a lot of stuff on the go. It's pretty much the same stuff all the time, every single day. We have beautiful things to show. It's very satisfying. And then I kind of like became your friend without even you knowing that you have a friend on the other side of the camera, somewhere on the other side of the phone. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. And then we kind of became friendly over time and started talking. And I've actually developed quite a few relationships this way with the guys all over the place: Europe, United States, Canada. It's crazy. With some of the folks, we haven't even seen each other. We haven't even met yet. It's insane.
Yeah, well, like I did an episode with Jim Kerrigan over at Jeco, and I've followed his stuff forever, and just we've chatted about different things over the years, but spending like an hour just talking to him. I mean, first of all, he is one funny son of a gun. If you ever get the chance to talk to him, my God, he's hilarious. And just, you don't think about it, but you've watched him for so long, you start talking to him, you feel like, hey, man, we've known each other for like 10 years.
Yeah, he's definitely a character. I love him.
So it is nice to actually get to talk to these guys.
Yeah, he's not too far, actually. He's just over in Calgary. I must have, gone and seen him once at least, but I haven't done so. I'm going to, though. We kind of talked about meeting sometime in May, but things didn't work out. Yeah, he's a good guy. I love him.
He's a good guy. Got Craig with Midnight Finishing. He's going to come on. I think he's coming on in July. So we've got the response. I think I was working on a video post to just thank, the response has just been phenomenal with, 4 or 5 episodes coming out this Monday, the 5th one, and the feedback, the comments, the listens, the reach that the podcast is getting. Just like you said, you're finding out who the people are behind finishing, and their real day-to-day stuff is what we talk about.
Well, let's get to the meat. You probably have some questions. What do you think I can bring to the audience? What do you think the questions we should talk about? And
let's kick it off with, what I like to start every episode with is what a lot of people want to know is just, what's your story? How did you get into finishing? Did it start with painting? Just how you started in the finishing game, and then how that progressed into the Constantine group.
I've been an artist my entire life. I remember when my grandfather would take me to the art school back then in my hometown in Siberia, in Russia. I was 4 years old. He would literally not tell anybody, would take me from the daycare and, drive me over to the art school. I was doing whatever, all kinds of water paintings and all kinds of crazy stuff, whatever the kids do. And then it grew into something serious. I was doing like nice portraits and oil paintings and stuff like that. I totally enjoyed that. I got some really good results with that. Then I had a little bit of a break. I went to the university and, did all of my first businesses and stuff like that. So the art side of me was kind of like hiding in the closet. Then the time came when I made a decision to move out of Russia, and I chose Canada, which I'm very, very much happy about, and very grateful that things worked out the way they did. I landed in Canada about 10, 11 years ago, and then started my journey in construction because I realized that trades, it's awesome to be a tradesman. It's very respected. It's not like in Russia and probably in many other countries as well, when, trades people kind of like are not as appreciated, let's put it this way. And in Russia, we had a lot of immigrants from other Asian countries, post-US, post-Soviet countries that were like, below poverty line. They would come over to Russia, and people kind of like associate construction with these guys. So whenever you say I'm in construction, people kind of go, "Whoa, what happened to you? Like, why?" And here in Canada, it's like, people are very much respected, appreciated. And I was like, wow, I've always been drawn to this. Like, I love this, the artistic side of things. And, just being honest, working hard, and making good living out of it. So I got into Finnish carpentry pretty much right after I landed. I did my school and I was working part-time and stuff like that. So I got some skills and basic knowledge of Finnish carpentry. And then I was like, wow, I can paint as well. So I started painting, spray works, residential houses. Pretty much, I'm doing pretty much the same thing as, well, I'll put it this way. It's custom homes, full process of painting and finishing, Finnish carpentry, some flooring and stuff like that. And I had been doing that for 4 years until I moved to Vancouver. I moved to Vancouver about 5 years ago, and then things changed. Different market, different mentality, different vibe. West Coast. I lived, by the way, when I landed in Canada, I lived a little bit in Toronto, a little bit in Calgary, and then we moved to Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I spent a good 4 years there doing my school and starting my business, growing it to $1 million in sales and revenue. That was my last year, my biggest achievement in terms of numbers. Then I moved. I left everything behind. I found jobs for all of my people, all of my guys. Found good contractors, good subcontractors for all of the builders that I was serving, and I moved to Vancouver. So spraying on site was something that I enjoyed a lot, and doing some nice cut lines and stuff like that. I've been always trying to improve myself, my skills, my techniques, tricks, tools, and things like that. Also Finnish carpentry. Then it grew into, then in Vancouver, I realized that the market is slightly different, and there's a lot of like conventional painting is not as appreciated. So, and I really like the spray works. So the artistic side of it made me think, well, I can probably do something, with the spray works. So maybe, I can spray something on site, but not really cut and roll, because it's, conventional painting is conventional painting. There's a lot of people that can do that. And I got a few jobs like that, and I was like, and then I found, believe it or not, ClickFunnels, a service, an online tool, an online service that helps you with all your website and sales and marketing and ads and all that kind of stuff. I never went with them, by the way. I don't believe in that company. I don't know. That's just how it happened. But I met a few people, Yanni Fikaris, that was promoting finishing cabinet painting in their ad, in ClickFunnels ads. And then I got involved with his guys, with his friends. There was a Facebook group that he created. So I started talking with them about finishing, about everything else, and learning about this niche cabinet refinishing, cabinet painting. I was like, wow, this looks very interesting to me. Naturally, I got involved and I started having some first clients. I loved it. I fell in love with it. So 5 years later, we grew into quite successful refinishing / refacing company. and started doing some custom cabinets as well. The custom cabinets became a thing about 2 years ago when we had a lot of clients served. And I'm going to pull up my Google Maps listing so you can see, how many clients we have. And we had pretty much the same amount back then, like 2 years ago. A lot of people started, so all the blue and red marks are my clients all over lower mainland here in Vancouver and in the area. So we started receiving a lot of callbacks, right? Referrals. People move. People really liked us. They loved the service, and they were like, "Do you do new kitchens as well? We would love to have you back and build our whatever bar unit or a new kitchen, because we really like the quality of the finish, quality of your doors when you did our first place." And we started traveling, 4 or 5 hours away from our hometown here in the area because people really want us. And I was like, wow, this really means something. And I enjoy making things like building cabinets. So we got involved with that. And now we're at the point when we do 50-50, still have a lot of referrals, do a lot of refacing. I trained my guys, I trained my people. They really know how to do the difficult stuff, which I believe is pretty hard to do. Making all of the alignments on the doors. Working with the existing cabinets is always harder than, when it's all brand new, straight lines. When you install all of your cabinets, you want to set yourself for success. So you level them all out nicely. It's been 10, 15 years. The cabinets are not brand new anymore. They sag, they're crooked. Who knows who installed these, to begin with. And it's a lot harder. So my guys are now trained on the more difficult projects. Now we can really use them on the brand new ones. Putting up a few boxes on the wall is not really that hard. So now we're doing 50-50. We have a top-of-the-line CNC machine, edge bender, panel saw, all the other smaller machines, brush sanding machine, the full set for custom cabinetry. And we still do a lot of refacing because it's bread and butter. There's a lot of clients that really want us. There's a lot of people that follow us, Instagram, YouTube, a lot of referrals, a lot of friends and families of the clients that we already served. So it's kind of like, it would be dumb to say no to the people coming in and saying, hey, that's right. So here's where I'm at right now. I'm really happy. One of the most important things is that the reason why I started doing this is because I truly love the trade. I truly love, I have a huge passion towards it. There was, there've been ups and downs, financial situation and problems when we had to redo the whole thing, the existing cabinets, the existing doors. By the way, that's another thing that I really wanted to get into. Refinishing, repainting versus refacing. So now I wouldn't want to call myself a refinisher because we truly do a lot of refacing, new doors, a lot. I figured that it's the same money. It's the same cost for me to produce really good quality product in the end when we start from scratch. When we take all the measurements, cut all the brand new MDF doors or buy the MDF doors, raw slabs, raw MDF doors. And then we start the process of finishing with pretty much no chance to fail. When with the refinishing, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. 5-piece doors, they always move, they always crack, there's gaps, there's bridging, all of this good stuff. It comes back no matter what. There are some miter fold doors, like these guys here. These are miter fold. There's a lot more meat that goes in, and the joint is a lot tighter. Thus, we see a lot less of cracking, but they still show up. And also, this profile is nice, so people do it out of wood anyways. You can't make it out of MDF. With this case, with miter joint doors, we refinish them because they're expensive and people like the style. But in all other cases, like simple shakers, we replace them all. And we have a lot of success with that. So that was another topic that I wanted to get into, but that's what we do a lot, refacing and refinishing. Lots of happy clients. This is where we're at. And I guess I should probably end with this. I have a lot of, so this is what I wanted to say. I have a lot of passion towards it. I love this. And during all these ups and downs, it just kept me going because I truly love. I forget about the money in a difficult situation and just pulling through because I'm genuinely enjoying the process. Standing there in the booth, 2-3 a.m. after midnight, spraying stuff. I'm enjoying myself. It's hard. I'm tired, but I'm enjoying the process, and that kept me going through the tough times. And this could probably be a huge advice to anybody, to myself in the past. Lean in towards your passions, things that you truly love. Don't go for the money. Don't go for anything like fame or whatever. Just enjoy yourself. Enjoy doing do what you enjoy, and you're going to be successful at it over time, because that's how things work.
And you also alluded on it too, like just don't quit. Whatever you do, don't quit. Just push through it. You're almost there. And if you just don't quit, you will outperform and outwork 75-80% of the people that are out there, because everyone's just conditioned that it gets hard, you quit. It's going to get hard. There's no way that it won't get hard. I mean, just keep going. If you love it, keep going. You'll get to the other side.
And that's the key part for me. If you love it, if you do, and only if you do, then keep pushing. You're going to be successful at it 100%. And that's my philosophy. Now I know what I love. Now I know what my thing is, and I'm just going at it. And 100%, I'm 100% committed no matter what happens. It's just easier this way, like when it gets hard, I mean, I feel so bad for the people that are in really tough situations financially, mentally, when they have some issues with the clients, with whatever, and they don't like what they're doing. They are miserable. It's so freaking hard. Like, I probably know what that means, to have a depression, when people really struggle with, they don't like their life. They don't love their life anymore. They don't enjoy it anymore. I mean, when I have some issues, whatever, I just go in, and put my headphones on, and I'm just freaking spraying. I'm just freaking, cutting some cabinets, doing some it's a form of meditation when you truly enjoy doing something, especially we're blessed to work with our hands, see the colors, see the sheens, the wet paint. I mean, this stuff is so satisfying.
Oh, it's just being able to see a process and see it finished, I think, is one of the most satisfying things. But I was going to hit on the door process that you were talking about, of replacing versus refinishing. That, I would say, the last 2 years, maybe 3, it has really taken off down here in the US. I mean, it's really gone crazy, with everyone saying, "Oh, I'm not going to mess with those doors. I'll paint your boxes, your face frames," because half-inch overlay is a thing in the US, and I don't really understand why. Full overlay is just so much better. But regardless, it's still here. But there's a company up in New York, you probably know them, Chris, and is it Dave, I think, over at New Doors. Yeah, they are just, I mean, they're crushing it, and all they do is make doors.
I wanted to do a little bit of a promo of them, give them some props. Those guys are really good. They talk about the things that are so close to me, and they build the business off of it. This is exactly what we do, and I would suggest to do this to everyone doing refinishing. It makes sense. Just sit down and put all the numbers together. The reason why I made the change is because I'm not only artistic and not only artistic, I also count the monies, right? Count the numbers, and I'm pretty good at math. So we started running all kinds of different stats. My guys, the on-site guys, and the in-shop people, they would write down all the hours that they spent on each and every task. We had those sheets, the time sheets for both the shop and the on-site, and we ran them for like two years until we kind of said, we don't need them anymore. We now have the process that's nailed in. That helped us a lot. So what we figured, excuse me, is that the prep time is insane. And also the remakes, the callbacks, the comebacks, like when we bring a door or two back, and when we struggle fixing those stupid butt joints, that was a killer. Like we wasted so much time fixing those. It's insane. But when you're already in it, what are you going to say to your client? Hey client, actually, like, we're having a little bit of issue with your stupid doors. They're old, and under the sink doors, they're falling apart. You know what? Like, we can't really fix them, so we're going to have to order a new one, charge you for it, and also charge you to finish it. We are charging you to finish that old one, but it fell apart. It's not our fault, Well, it's not really your fault, but you're going to have to pay for it. I felt really bad about that. So I thought, why don't we do it right from the beginning? And how do we do it right from the beginning? Well, maybe we should really get into new doors. And then we started that. We did one project, and we were like, we saved a bunch of money. We saved a bunch of time equals money. And then I was like, wow, we didn't have any callbacks. That requires some skills as well. So I started training my guys. Some of the things are important, like taking precise measurements. That's not really hard when you have eyes, and when you can read the numbers. That's pretty much all you need. And when you can write everything and not be like super fast, don't rush, just slow down, check everything twice or three times. You're not going to spend a lot of time doing it anyways. It's just an hour max, just an hour. Yeah well, we don't really take them down anyways. We keep it until the very last moment when we show up to reface them, but we just take our time measuring all of the doors, so we don't make any mistakes. We don't remake the doors. And also when we drill the hinges, we got to be, careful with that, and not drill the hinges on the face side of the door, on the other side of the door. So these are some dumb mistakes that can happen, and they have happened to us. So, but that's pretty much all to it. I mean, you got to know how to drill handles. And I know some of the cabinet painters do drill handles on site when they fill, patch, sand, paint, and then drill new ones. So that's a common skill too. But on the new doors, you have to drill them. There's a lot of benefits that come with the new doors. So it's a great selling point. When we sell new doors, we can change things up. Instead of 2 doors, we can have 3 drawers, 4 drawers, 2 drawers. We're going to have a really nice beveled door, which is a lot easier to clean. Benefit. You're going to love it. It's going to be a lot more practical than your classic shakers. Yeah, that's right. We can. You get to choose the style. So we started doing that. We came to the conclusion that it's more beneficial to the company, to the bottom line. And then now we're at the point when we make new doors, when we cut them all, and we're at the point when we started doing some automations. Our CNC machine also sends the doors for us, so we don't have to pre-send the raw MDF doors. And I'm in the process of getting the. It's going to be super cool for me to go back to this podcast. Let's say a year from now. I'm setting up my square sander. I made a 3x3 sander, so it's square, and it goes like a wave all around the perimeter of the panel and sands close to the rails and stiles. And it does everything for us. And my goal is, feel free to take this idea and run with it, modify it, tweak it, twist it, and use it for yourselves. I'm trying to do, as much automation as possible. So what I'm thinking is, before I cut the doors apart, I cut out all the panels. I router all of the central panels on the sheet of MDF. Then I run the sanders. I run the G-code to sand all my rough MDF until I'm happy with it. And then I don't cut the doors apart. Then I take the sheet and wheel it out to the spray booth, spray my first coat of primer, let it dry, put it back on the CNC at the same position, on the same spot. It's pretty precise. And then have the sanders run again, sand the primer once again, and then cut the doors apart. This way, all of the this way the CNC will know where each door is, and it will sand exactly, because the CNC machine is blind, right? It doesn't read anything. It just follows the G code that you put in, and then it's going to sand everything the same way as it did the first time when it was raw MDF, and it's going to cut it flat. It's a lot more efficient than your hand. It's a lot more precise than your hand. Consistency, precision, and you're not wasting your energy and your health. And then the doors are cut apart. You do your second coat of primer. All you need to do is just scuff sand it. It's ready for the top coat. And also on the MDF doors, I just want to squeeze as much value as I can. With the MDF doors, you can have your backs made out of melamine, so you don't really have to paint the second side unless it's some sort of a crazy color like blue or black or whatever. And even then, our client find it work better for them, because when you have a painted surface on the back, you open up a cabinet, you have this kickback, the smell, especially during the first couple of months. We don't use conversion varnish. We're 2K poly based, but still there's solvent in there. And when you open it up, you have a little bit of kickback. But the white melamine works great, because a lot of cabinets, at least here in Canada, are made out of white melamine. So when you open up a black door, what you see is white on the inside, which is nice. You have a lot more light bouncing off, and it's all nice and lit up. You can see all your plates and cups and whatnot. And also the back of the door is made out of the same white melamine, so it matches. You don't really want to have it black or blue or whatever, so it makes sense. The edge bend tape should probably be a matching color, so you don't see the white through the gaps, the white edge bend. So that's why we still need the on-site painting. But I guess that would wrap it up where I'm at. I'm trying to automate as much as possible, and this is what we've come to so far in terms of the process.
I've always found it interesting, and I'll got another question for you, but I was going to say, being involved in the manufacturing side and talking to guys in different parts of the country, here in the U.S., it is so odd that melamine cabinet boxes are sought after as like cheap. And I've never understood that, because I'm like, it's easy to clean. You're not going to whelp it. You can wipe it off. Reflects light great, but everyone wants like the inside of their cabinets to be painted the same as the outside. And if it's not all wood, 100% all wood all the way through, in the construction of it, the notion, at least here in the central U.S., the south central U.S., is they're cheap. And I'm like, no, that's not the case at all. But I remember I'd have to fight that all the time, because I would try to get people to switch over to melamine boxes. Like, did some commercial jobs, full overlay, black melamine boxes and black edge banding that were full overlay, crazy doors painted on the front, and just looked amazing. I was like, God, gorgeous. But everyone wants that either clear UV or wood. It's weird. Definitely weird.
That's really weird you say this. I haven't experienced this as much. I do agree with this though, that white melamine is cheap in a lot of people's perspective. But I have to say that, and I totally agree with you on white is very easy to clean. It's very durable. It's scratch resistant, and stuff like that. It's just, and it's white, right? On the inside, when it's white, you see everything. It's so nice. I don't know. It's clean. It's neat. The core is important. I have this MDF board with me, a nice walnut veneer board. This has MDF core, and it has this core for a reason, not because it needs to be cheap or whatever. It needs to be super flat, super even. That's why it's made out of MDF. When you make this piece of wood out of real walnut, good luck. It will never be straight and even, and it's just crazy. For the same reason, people make cabinets out of man-made materials like particle board or plywood. I'm a big fan of plywood. Plywood is definitely more expensive than particle board because it's like, more expensive to produce. And we always make our cabinets out of plywood. Main reason for me is not only that it's stronger, it's a lot lighter. Particle board is a lot heavier. That's why I don't like it. And it, crumbles like crazy. It's a lot easier to break versus plywood. It's a lot stronger. But it has melamine surface. So it's a lot more durable. I definitely prefer plywood over particle board, and there is a common opinion that melamine is cheap, but it's some sort of a myth. It's a myth because people think that white melamine means particle board on the inside, and it's not the case. We use plywood, regular plywood, with the white melamine surface on both sides. So that's a melamine cabinet, but it's made out of plywood. It's a plywood core. And same thing, birch, pre-finished birch plywood. It's the same thing. It's the same plywood core, but with a little bit of a veneer, birch veneer on top, finished with a clear coat. It's the same cost, pretty much the same cost.
When I had my company and we would actually discuss it and talk about a birch pre-finished plywood or a black or white melamine pre-finished or plywood, your cost is very negligible between the two, but the chemical resistance, the scratch resistance, the water resistance over in the melamine, I mean, don't get me wrong, UV coatings are badass, but they're still not going to match melamine. And once, it kind of goes into my education, when I talk about education, you just educate them, and you could slowly start to, but it's still, the prominent is still finishing. So, but it's just interesting, different regions you get to and the different norms, like, full overlay cabinets are just something here in the South Central that you see one out of maybe 25.
And we work with that all the time as well. People not being educated, right? And it's totally normal. Do I know everything about my car, the mechanics? Do I know everything about chemistry, healthcare? I know shit. I mean, I go in and I'm going. But when I really need something, I want to be educated because I don't want to be fooled around. I don't want to be, scammed. I don't want to be tricked. I don't want to be sold something that I don't really need because I don't want to get disappointed and waste money in the end. And that's why I love dealing with the clients that want to be educated, that are not yet educated enough to make a decision, but they are willing to get educated. I love that part. It's sad that not a lot of people are educated. The market in general doesn't have a lot of knowledge. But I love dealing with the clients that are willing to go that route. And, I honestly enjoy that process. I go in, I feel like there's a little bit of a thirst, and I go in with my knowledge, with my expertise, and I start the process of educating. Basically, it's not really a sales process anymore. It's a process of educating them in what they're going to experience. And through this, we build trust. it's awesome. I love that.
It's relationships. I mean, that's all it is. Up in the Vancouver, I always find this to be an interesting topic. Any trends? Are you guys seeing it? Some paint switching away? Are you seeing anything new emerging?
When I work with designers, I'm sure you did. You served contractors, millwork guys. They work with designers. So it comes from them. I believe the trends come from designers. They don't come from regular people. I deal a lot with families, with private clients. They don't get to choose what trend it is. They don't really follow any trends. So whatever I offer, they just go for it, right? Whatever makes sense for them at that moment. I'm showing them. I try to give them all the options. I'm trying to show them everything. Here's what's trending from what I know, right? Here's what looks cool. Here's what our other clients do, other clients like, and check this out for yourself and see if you like it. What you like most, and that's how I roll. Whenever we finish for the millwork guys, then we can kind of see the trends. Or whenever we work with designers, we just take their drawings and execute on it. Just, cut it all, make it all, finish it all, and install it. We do see some trends. We see some white oak coming back in the form of pre-finished veneer or unfinished veneer, and we match it whenever we have a little bit of a little more of a high-end project. In this case, we stain and clear coat with acrylic polyurethanes. But it's not a lot. It's not the whole thing. It's a combination. Solid color plus a little bit of white oak. Not much. I heard you talked about some white oak coming back in the States as well. I guess it's all over the place. It's not the golden oak. I remember you you had a funny story about that golden oak kitchen. Yeah, there's older people that kind of like have their memories, good romantic whatever stories from the past or whatever. They have certain things that they're accustomed to, and they kind of like want to bring it back to life or whatnot. I don't know, but we did a few kitchens for older families. We did nice espresso stained maple cabinets. It looked nice. It didn't look old. It didn't look like this yellow golden oak. But we do something like that. We finish something like that in the more of a high end glaze look. I don't know if the camera can get focused on this. This is pretty cool, but this definitely takes a specific client, like a very unique client that has this taste, right, for the glazed look, because most of the people tend to go with something simple, something like white gray or something in between. Some of the more I guess interesting looks would probably have a little bit of blue or navy color, but even then people kind of go, I don't know this, I don't know, because people want to get, people want to sell their place, and they don't want potential buyers to go, oh, what is this? Like, why did it go with this color? It looks, we're going to have to redo this, right? So people want to think about that as well. So they don't want to go crazy. So white, off-whites tend to be on the table. It's not going anywhere. I do see some trends, but they're just probably a combination of the white oak with any kind of form of white. We do a lot of pre-finished cabinets as well. We have a lot of frameless cabinetry here in Canada than you guys do. You guys have a lot of face frame cabinets, which is completely different from Canada. We don't have a lot. We only have the old ones that we still repaint time to time. But new ones,
there's still a ton of face frame cabinets. I hate face frame cabinets now.
I haven't seen one in years that's like fresh.
Oh man, there's still a dime a dozen out here.
Yeah, it's different. But in terms of trends, I don't really see anything that's like, wow, do you guys have that? This is crazy. Seems like it's a new trend.
Nothing too crazy. I mean, a lot of it's a lot similar. So when you started, kind of sum up, I'm going to roll over to talk a little business entrepreneurship. We have a lot of guys that like talking about that. When you moved to Vancouver, you started fresh up. And if I remember right, I don't know, is that when we first started talking is when you moved into Vancouver and you were in a cabinet shop, like sharing space, or was that a business partner?
Correct. My good friend Dennis Rodriguez, he was actually one of those guys that said, "Hey, don't bullshit around. Don't go crazy. You don't need a shop just yet." So, and also I had an interview with Zach Kenny 4 years ago or so. So I was just starting out. I was definitely bought into a whole social media thing, and I was trying to do the podcast at the same time and run the company, and it was definitely hard. So he gave me the first piece of advice: why don't you go out and build a very successful company first and then tell the world about it? And I'm like, well, you kind of right. And I was like, well, I'm still going to do the podcast anyways. And then I had a huge lack of time, and I'm like, what's more important for me? And I paused on the podcast side. So that was a great piece of advice. I still have it on camera. So Zach, thank you if you're listening. And Danius, thank you very much for that advice. It was very handy back then. He said, don't go for the full shop just yet. When you partner up, because that's what he's doing till this day, partner up with a cabinet guy. Most of them, or some of them, have a little bit of, a corner where they spray, like a, open face spray booth. You might be very helpful, very useful to that guy, to that cabinet guy, because they don't have a good finisher in most of the cases. They either spray themselves or they get somebody that doesn't really know what he or she is doing. So try to find somebody.
Or they just spray raw cabinet or sell raw. They don't do. I found a lot of them it's just raw cabinets. They don't do anything. I mean, that was one of my big find new business. Is I had a sales guy be like, I just want you to drive through every industrial neighborhood and you see a stack that looks like this, took a picture of the one that goes out our building, you stop. You see something that looks like a dust extractor, you stop and you walk in a back door and you find someone. I mean,
that's a great piece of advice, by the way. If we paraphrased what you just said, or if I add a little something to it, that would be a great piece of advice to the newer guys, the guys that are just coming up in the game. So the first one was join a millwork guy that was from Danish. And he said, you're going to have some stream of work going your way. You're not going to pay a lot. You're not going to have all the headaches of running the shop, leasing the shop on your name, buying all the equipment, setting up the booth. It's all done for you. It's free. Just get in and start painting. You might have to pay some fee, some whatever rent monthly. Back then, it was 5 years ago when it started out. We had a deal that I had to pay like $500 a month or so. I quickly grew into something bigger, and I was like, Then I partnered up with another guy, and then I started renting a full spray shop, half and like 50-50 with him. There was 2 spray booths on both sides, and I was running one of them. The other guy was running the other one, and then we kind of like kicked him out over time, and we took over the whole thing. He was a nice guy. I'm just kidding, but he left. He had another shop actually, and he started doing everything in his first shop, and we took over that whole thing. But before I did, I had to. I stayed with that millwork guy. I was finishing for him, and I had my own jobs, refinishing jobs, and I enjoyed that. The spray booth was there for me. The cost of the rent was only $500 a month, no utilities. It was awesome, and I also had a little bit of a room, like a mini office where I had my whatever social media done, and running some podcast things, which never really grew into anything. But anyhow, I love that part. But whatever you said about the driving around town for the newer guys, especially, I mean, it works all the time. Just drive around. People, most of the people are not advertising. Most of the guys are old school, and they kind of like, what the fuck is Google? What's Facebook? Come get out of here.
They'll do stain and clear, and that's all I do. I'm not painting. Well, do you have any? I mean, one of our biggest customers, I sold my company to my foreman, and one of our biggest customers, he was doing their touch up, and they were doing their own finishing, and he called him, and he was like, "Man, you're charging me a lot for touch up, man. I got to get this price down. Like, it's just costing me too much." And the guy that bought my foreman that bought the business, his name was Edgar. He just said, "Well, you got a shitty finisher. If you let me finish all your cabinets and get him out of there, then I won't have to pay me as much to touch up." And he just took over 100% of their work, I think, about a year ago. I mean, it's not something that's going to happen immediate. Like you alluded to earlier, the other side of growing businesses, you're not going to get all their business at once. It's a crawl before you can walk. Take their overflow. Take the stuff they don't want to do.
But interesting enough, when you said that, I just realized that, I mean, we don't really need a lot of work, a lot of extra work. We're super busy. But when you don't have a lot of work, all you do is just drive around town and go meet people, go and get in the door and just talk to the owner. And most of the people, what I was trying to say was, most of the people are not advertising, so you can't really see them everywhere, like on Google or whatever, on Facebook, on Instagram. But when you drive around and see it, well, on Google probably yes, right? But if you see a random cabinet shop that's not even on Google, go in, try to find the owner. He's not there, get his phone number, talk to him. In most of the cases, finishing will be their weak point, will be something that they struggle with. You're going to get jobs, consistent jobs, repeat jobs coming into your shop if you're into spraying cabinetry, spraying, finishing any kind of millwork stuff. That's a great piece of advice for the new guys. Absolutely. Scrolling back to the business side, you said you were with a millwork guy. Yes, I was, and it was great. I think it was awesome. That helped me realize that I really love it. I'm in it. And that was a great starting point for me.
Taking that into consideration, I would say that was probably a key strategic move of, crawl before you can walk. What are there some other strategies that you've used with Constanta to put you guys where you're at? Like, I mean, ahead of the competition, like what are some good strategies that you guys have implemented?
Before I go into this, I wanted to add another thing. Before I rented out that spray booth, that corner from the guy, and joined with the Millwork guy, I was actually spraying on site. So believe it or not, for like 6 months or so, I would get a job and I would go in, mask everything out, build the walls and stuff, and have a spray set up just like you would for an on-site finishing, but I would actually spray the doors as well. Now it sounds crazy to me, but I know for a fact that there's a lot of guys that do that this way. And my advice for anyone who's doing it this way, get yourself a spray booth, like a professional industrial space that's fully legal and stuff like that. You can do it for cheap. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. You can join with a millwork guy. All the responsibilities will be on this millwork guy. He has to make it all legal and stuff like that. All worst case scenario, if somebody comes in and it's not legal or whatnot, fire safety, whatnot, fire suppression. I mean, you got to make sure that everything's good. But in case if he's hiding something or whatnot, you're not responsible for anything. It's on that guy, right? And in the good case scenario, everything is awesome, everything is legal, and you're just paying a small monthly fee. But you have that infrastructure going. You have all of the cabinet doors in there. You're not in the space. You're making your clients a lot happier than you would spraying in-house for a week and more if it's a bigger job. You're going to deliver way higher like way higher quality, first of all, when you're in the controlled environment, but also you're going to have happier clients in the end. So that was a great thing as well. When I had my shop, I was like, wow, this is freaking awesome. That was such a long time ago, but it feels like it was just yesterday. What are some other strategies? Facebook ads and Instagram ads. You did a lot of organic stories and posts. That is awesome. We all have to be doing this. When things get busy, I come up with excuses like I'm fucking busy, I'm tired, and shit like that. But I shouldn't be. Just throw out anything. Try to make it interesting. Try to make it a little entertaining for the people watching. Like they don't have to be your potential clients. They could be your friends or whatever, family or acquaintances. Anybody who has eyes, who can get entertained. Like watching some paint dry. Some nice colors. This stuff looks cool. It's regular shit for you, but for whatever healthcare workers, for crane operators, this stuff is cool. They're watching it. They're going, holy shit, this looks super awesome. What is this? Right? So, and things like that, just throw it out and people are going to be happy. But also paid ads, and the strategy of ads is crucial. We always run ads. I figured that part out pretty early. I think it was 3.5 years ago when we started doing really good with the ads. I got most of my clients through Facebook and Instagram ads. I have a good YouTube video on how you can do it yourself. I go in depth into how to do it, how to set the filters, how to set the areas, how to do the budgets and all that kind of stuff. This stuff works awesome. I mean, the cost of lead was $6-7 a lead. Then it went up to 10. Now it's around $15 Canadian per lead. It's pretty cheap. I mean, not all of the leads.
So what do you say you would spend on an average month on paid leads for the guys that are just getting started? Like what's because there's some guys that, I'll put $50 in it and I don't get anything. So screw this.
Yeah, you can't really do that, right? So part of the problem is that there is a lead nurturing process. So the leads, your potential clients' leads, they don't become your clients right away unless they're really ready. They're, what's the proper word here? They're desperate. They urgently need somebody. That's typically not a good client when they're in such a rush. But if they're a good potential client, they would probably get an estimate from you and think about it, get ready, and then they fall through. So running ads on permanent basis consistently is extremely important. And throwing $50 is just not enough to get enough leads. When I started out, I think I was running $500 a month, doing all the ads myself. Then I quickly grew into $1,000 a month, and I hired a person that does all the legwork, putting all the pictures and videos and the copy together and testing all of that stuff. I found a really good guy that does it for relatively inexpensive. He's not a marketing agency. He's just a, targeting guy. But I learned all that stuff myself. That's extremely important. That stuff is everything. If I didn't run the ads, if I didn't have the Facebook and Instagram ads, I wouldn't have built my business at all.
That's good advice. Yeah. You got to, use the tools that are out there and don't give up on them. I mean, they're going to take time. I think that's the hardest part is everyone expects them to pay off immediately.
Exactly.
It's just not
and
how
small
advertising
amounts
works.
as well. When I spend, I like to say invest. When I invest $500 into the ads, I get, I would say, well, I'll give you the numbers that I'm accustomed to. So we're spending about $3,000 a month at the moment. and not including the fees that I pay to the targeting guy, which is about $500 or so. It's fairly inexpensive. So for the $3,000 a month, we would get anywhere between $50,000 to $70,000 back in revenue. So when I don't spend any money on ads, it's pretty simple math. I don't get any revenue back. Do you want $50,000 to $70,000 in revenue? Yes. Then you got to spend the monies for the ads. Super simple, super easy. Now we're blessed to have a lot of referrals and comebacks and a lot of repeat clients. That adds up as well. But you can't feed off of that. You can't rely on that. You can't feed your family just relying, just using hope as a strategy. You know, I'm going to have a lot of repeat clients come calling me and saying, "Oh, we need you." You know, one by one, they don't call you, or they all call you. You know, it's very sporadic. It's like, you know, ups and downs. You can't rely on that stuff. But Facebook,
yeah, and the guys that have done that for years, I mean, we're not talking 5-10 years. The guys that are saying, "Oh, I don't run ads, I just have callbacks." And these are guys that have been painting for 30 flipping years. You know, if you've got a black book of 30 years of customers, then yeah, you can stay pretty busy. But if you're trying to get going in this business, you're going to have to put some effort into there. You're going to have like you said, an investment into generating that black book. You got to create one. That guy spent 30 years creating his. You're not going to do it overnight.
but also what I also like to say here is you don't want all the clients in the world. You're only capable, depending on the type of business you want to run. Maybe you want to serve everybody. I don't know. Maybe you have different tiers. You have different teams. Team A that does all the shitty work. Team B that does the mid-grade work. And Team A that's like the best, whatever the high end. I don't have that. I only have one crew that's really good, that does really good work. And I only have one me. You know, I don't want to deal with cheap clients. I don't want to deal with some stuff that I just hate. So I pick and choose. When I have 50 potential clients that all want to buy from me a month, I know that I can only go with 10. So 50, 10, easy math. I just pick the 10 that are best. So if you do have a lot of repeat clients and they're all okay, right? Some are better, some are worse. You can easily say, "Hey, I'm just super busy. Do you have another guy that can do the stuff for you?" Or just fire a client. That's not a problem, right? When you have a lot of other clients coming in and saying, "Hey, we want to deal with you. We know you're very reputable finisher. You've been around for so many years, for decades. We know you finish a lot of, you finish for a lot of people. We want to be one of them." You want people to know about you. This is how it works. This is how it's been working for hundreds of years. Word of mouth is the same thing, but with a social media, it's on steroids. If you're good, first of all, try to be good. Do what you love. Try to be good. And then tell people about yourself. Use the tools that are out there. Get on the podcast with Zach. Film some YouTube videos, film some stories every single day and put it out on Instagram. Do what you can. You don't have to be on the camera. First of all, let me tell you, like I speak, English is my second language, right? I've been afraid of my accent. I've been afraid of my look, even when I had some hair left 5 years ago, I was still afraid of my look. I thought I have a crooked nose. I had, first of all, other than the fact that it's crooked, for some reason, I've been thinking that this is the only flaw that it has. It's giant, right? It's a giant nose. And I've been thinking
I don't know if I would have ever noticed that.
that it's broken, and that's the flaw. And it's the things that are in us, our stupid insecurities, that make us do stupid stuff and limit ourselves from success. Then, I kind of kicked that all in the face and the neck, and started going slowly, but surely, doing some Instagram stories and stuff like that. And that quickly grew some confidence in me. But you don't have to. If you don't feel like you're putting out your face, that's fine. You can just post your work. I've known many different guys that are like that. Very good example is Matt Slater, painting or painter. He is awesome. You can find Matt on Instagram. He has a decent following. A lot of people know him. He doesn't really show his face much. He's just not into it. He's not really interesting. Even though I've been I've noticed lately, he's been out talking and showing some stuff. I love that stuff. He has I think he has a great personality, but it's just, he's just not into it, and that's fine. People still connect with you when you post something, when you tell the world that I do exist, and that's extremely important.
Another one that I always try to tell people about is find a resource. Like when I first started out, a resource and a mentor was my father-in-law. He's started 5 or 6 businesses, had some fail, sold a cable company in Colorado by the time he was 30. He had a goal to make $1 million by 30. Sold a cable company on his 31st birthday and made $1 million selling the company. But leaning on him when it comes to strategies to grow in your business, that's a huge advantage. So if you can find a mentor or a coach or someone that has been through it and failed, man, that is a huge plus when it comes onto the entrepreneur side of, one, don't be afraid to fail, but 2, find someone who can help you and coach you so you don't get down when that stuff does happen. It just they help push you to learn from those things. What about, so in that aspect, have you guys had any resources that you've used or that you would recommend for guys that are wanting to get into painting, or advice for those guys? What kind of
Mentorship, not so much. I really wanted, I thought about it, but just, I don't know. First thing is I've always felt like mentorship in the way that it exists now is you have to pay a bunch of money to some smart ass that's going to teach you how to do shit. And I've been burnt a few times with, I don't want to say this anymore about this person. I believe he doesn't do it anymore, so I'm just going to keep it silent, but he knows. He's done it. I don't believe in paying a lot of money to somebody that would teach you everything. First of all, you're not going to learn shit from that person, especially when it's a lot of money. When you don't have that money, you can't afford that. I believe that if it's a family, that could be a great thing because you already have a relationship with that person. If you became friendly with somebody that's really good in business, that's awesome. I just haven't happened to to find that kind of mentorship. That's all. But mentorship is huge for me. I found a few great people on the internet. One of them was Gary Vaynerchuk. He's probably the one. I haven't really listened. Yeah, I haven't really listened to as many podcasts that I did of anybody else's other than Gary. YouTube videos and everything else that he says. He's been he instilled some confidence in me. He has been a mentor, even though he doesn't really know about my existence. He has done it to a lot of people. A lot of people are really grateful for that. They appreciate Gary a lot for that. And a lot of Gary doesn't even know 99.9% of the people. But the industry peers, people of the same mentality, like-minded people like yourself. I've connected with a lot of great guys: Eric Reason, Dennis Rodriguez, Matt, Craig from Midnight. He is just out in Pemberton, a few hours away from me here. A lot of other guys on the internet. I mean, there's just so many. I don't want to mention all of them. It's going to take way too much time. But connect with the people, and if there's something you can help them with, first of all, we get connected, by nature, because we're all humans. We want to be connected. We want to communicate. We want to share. It feels awesome, and that could be some sort of a mentorship as well. and people that are willing to help. Some of the people are willing to rip you off. So that's not mentorship, and most of the people can smell it, from a mile away. You were one of the one of the guys that I met. You were like genuinely willing to help. I know we're running out of time, but there's just so many things that you helped me with. First of all, that was huge. I'm sure you already talked to other guys about this. The colorant, the tint station. We tint all of our colors in house, saving a bunch of money, time, waste. There's zero waste in our shop. Zero. We're not paying. I mean, we do pay for the waste disposal. It's the when we clean stuff, the dirty acetone, but we don't have any waste in terms of like paint, the resin itself, because we mix just the right amount of material every time. And when we need more paint, what do? We don't go anywhere because sometimes I need paint at night on the weekend. We just mix it right there. We have a lot better control because those guys at the paint store, I don't know what kind of asshole is there mixing my paint today. What kind of smoke, what kind of pot he had today. I don't know. Like he could be a good guy, he could be a bad guy. I don't want to rely on that company because most of them, I don't like most of them, right? That's why I don't deal with most of them. I only deal with one company that has great product that I buy all the time, but all the other ones I don't deal with them because I don't like them as much. But being able to control that is huge. That's one thing. The other thing was that I got from you was going with one brand, with one material, and buying in bulk. If you can't buy in bulk, but you do buy in pails, in in general, the company, the distributor, would be able to offer a better rate, a better price, versus when they sell in gallons. So you save there as well. We started buying multiple pails at the same time. We started shipping from Oklahoma, I guess that was, from somewhere else, wherever they had the closest warehouse, from Gemini, and they would ship it out, a full skid of paints. We have to pay a little more, but we have the stock, and we feel good about it. That we're sitting on stock, we have it. We're never running into some shortages. So that was two huge things that I got from you, and I wouldn't have got them from you had I not reached out back then, and had I not built a relationship with you. So mentorship comes in different shapes and forms. Talking to like-minded people, connecting with people on, genuinely connecting with people without any kind of like, well, sometimes I would get a few guys that are like, barking and saying, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? There's a few people like that. I don't like them, even though I still help them, but I just don't see any benefit. Like they only ask, they only take. That kind of people, you would want to stay, away from, right?
There's a book out there that I recommend. I had recommended to me, and I recommend to everyone. It's I can't remember the guy's name. It's called Who Not How, and it's like a book about you don't have to know how to do everything, and a lot of times it's better to find a who that can do it for you than figure out how to do it. But you have to realize that when you're finding a who, you are also a who. Everyone's a who. Like you're going to be a who to someone else, and you have to accept that because then they might need a who from you. So it's a double-edged, not double-edged, but it's a two-way street. You got to give to get. And I think a lot of people just want to give. They want to get. And if you don't ever give, no one wants to give you anymore. It's a very short window of help that you're going to get. And then it's going to run out quickly.
For sure. Karma is practical, man. I truly believe that.
Yes, it is. Very much so. So before we wrap it up, I always like to, I know you've probably listened to a couple, you've hinted at it. People are kind of getting wise to it. What is something I always like to give our listeners to know, want them to know who Constantine is outside of work? What is something that might surprise us about the listeners about you? What's a passion that you have that may be unexpected?
Well, I'm really grateful, for all of the opportunities that I've gotten in my life. Coming over to Canada, landing and getting all my paperwork done, citizenship and all this stuff. And, it's been amazing. Building my own business, living on my own terms, making a good living out of it. This is all awesome. Money, I've traveled around the world. All of that stuff is awesome. I'm able to help my family, and it's just awesome. But the other part of it, running my own business is I get to choose when I have days off. So whenever I want, whatever I want. I wanted to put some of my boards on the back, but I just thought, we're going to keep it very informative. I'm not going to show off all of my hobbies. I snowboard, I surf, love both. I skateboard, but not as much. I did a lot. I did a lot of it when I was younger, but I play hockey as well. I'm a goalie. It's been one of my, you know, dreams to become a professional hockey player from my childhood, but I never got a chance to do so because we were quite poor back in the day. We lived through the 90s in post-Soviet countries. Who knows? It was awful. It was just terrible in terms of financially. It was really good in the States, but really bad in Russia. So our family just didn't have any means to buy any kind of equipment or anything like that. So 23 years old, I'm coming over to Canada. I'm buying my own equipment and everything, and I'm playing, in the beer leagues. I'm so happy. I don't do it professionally. I don't kill myself. I don't have any injuries or anything like that, but I'm just so enjoying myself on the field. I'm freaking, the happiest I've ever been. So you can see me on the waves. You can see me on the ice.
My son's talking about wanting to play hockey. He's mentioned it a couple times, and I've got some friends that play it. So I hear it's not the cheapest kid sport to get into. So, but I'm like, hey, you want to try it for a season? Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, we wanted to play, back in my home country in Siberia, in Russia. That's how we wanted to play. We bought cheap sticks and we played on the snow. When the snow gets hard, almost like ice, you can still kind of throw some pucks back and forth. So that's how we played, just like on the street, no ice. That's how we played. That's how we wanted to play. And I was one of those dumbasses trying to catch those pucks with no equipment. Well, we played with the tennis ball, not so much with the pucks. But when I got a catcher, a glove, then they would throw some pucks at me as well. But I didn't really get any injuries, which is good. So I'm still alive. But that's how we wanted to play. That's how much we wanted to play back then. So if your kid really wants, he will, he'll get to it himself. You'll see it. You'll go, you really want to play. I got to get you to, somewhere to the field.
It's that 6-year-old, I really want to do everything right now, but
you got to give them opportunities to try. I'm really grateful.
That's
for
the thing.
Everything that I've tried. I've tried swimming. I've tried playing accordion and piano, art school. I did social work. I did math and physics. My parents, even though we weren't rich at all, we had all kinds of different opportunities to try things out and see what sticks, what we like. And I believe I found my passion through the art. And now, isn't this art? Doing beautiful custom cabinets?
It is, man. Well, I appreciate it. I just wanted to say thank you for coming on, Constantine. I really appreciate it. Insights were awesome. I loved the in-depth conversation. Any last words of wisdom for our listeners?
Well, for as much wisdom as I have, I'm only 33 years old.
You got plenty, brother.
Yeah. Well, I believe that wisdom comes from other people. So get on social media and get connected with folks like yourself, Dennis, Eric, Matt, Craig, Chris. Who else is out there that I can think of right away? Genuine people that are willing to help, that are out there trying to educate. Find different people, find other people. It doesn't matter. There are good people, and you will learn a lot of stuff. You don't have to make all of the mistakes yourself. You'll build meaningful relationships. You're going to be better. You're going to be making more money. You're going to live a happier life, more fulfilled, and on the inside, being connected with like-minded people. Because let's be honest, the hard workers that we are like, we don't really have any time to connect with anybody. I barely have any friends outside of my cocoon, outside of my finishing industry, right? I mean, people that I surf with, people that I snowboard with, and people that I play hockey with. That's pretty much all, and my family. But I have a lot of friends that I've never met in real life, like yourself. I hope we do meet one day. That I truly,
we're coming back to Vancouver.
Like
I can guarantee you
very
that.
much connected. You were very close, by the way. You were in Victoria. I'm really sad that I didn't go surf that day. I would have met you. But anyhow, life is long. These connections are a lot stronger because you're in the same industry, and also the chances that you will find somebody that's really close to you mentally right here on the same street are a lot lower than you would find somebody that's hundreds of miles away somewhere in Oklahoma. What? That's how it works. Internet, wipes out all the borders. There's no more borders. It's all erased. They don't exist anymore. You can really talk to people on FaceTime, and you can really go, hey, man, I was with Dennis all the time on FaceTime. He was like, hey, man, give me a call, instead of texting, because he doesn't like that stuff, right? And I was like, show me, what's this? And he's looking at the camera. I can see his beard, covering the camera. And he goes, this looks like fish. This looks like some contamination, man. I mean, we've been helping each other. He's been helping me. I didn't really help much him because he's a lot more experienced in this stuff. But I've been helping other people because I feel like I'm paying back to a lot of guys for what I got from more experienced folks in the industry. That's how it works. Get connected, go out and get connected. I'm not here to teach business because it's really hard, but there's a lot of people that you can find some mentorship, some really good advice from, and there's no more borders. It's all over.
Oh yeah, don't forget, shoot out your socials. Everybody go follow Constantine.
First of all, before we go, I just wanted to thank you, man. I appreciate everything you do, and I think this thing is going to be huge. I mean, even if you get 20 followers, but you're going to help these 20 followers so much that they're going to be grateful for all of this stuff forever. This means a lot to the people that you're doing, to the people that are listening. And it's very much authentic because you're the guy. You're definitely the guy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm having a blast doing it. It's a lot of fun, making a lot of meeting new people, making new relationships, forming friendships that I think they're going to last a long time. It's been a lot of fun. So I'm hoping the journey keeps going a long, long time. But shoot out your socials. I want everyone to go follow Constantine. I know you're on Instagram. You're on LinkedIn. Where can people find you?
It's YouTube. I called my channel by my first and last name. It's Constantine Udalov. You can find me on Instagram as well. I changed the handle to Constanta Cabinets. I do TikTok as well, even though I got some followers there, like 10, 15K followers on TikTok. I don't use it as much anymore. That's just how it is. But you can find me there as well. There's some cool, funny videos that I posted. YouTube would probably be a platform where bring some value to the people. But if you want to connect on a personal level, Instagram. I'm always there. I'm hopeful that we can touch on the YouTube thing maybe next time. This has been huge. Even though I haven't been posting anything in 2 years now, this is a huge passion of mine. So we can probably talk about that next time.
Well, definitely. Let's get you on another episode. I want to dive. I mean, I think we could probably dive a whole 45 minutes to an hour into the YouTube, because YouTube is a beast that takes a different monster, and you seem to do really well at it. So let's get you on another episode down the road, and let's dive into YouTube and the finishing side.
Absolutely. Anytime. We'll be happy to do so.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you listening. I appreciate everybody coming on. Everybody listening to this episode. Stay tuned. Episodes are coming out every Monday. I appreciate it again, Constantine. Have a good one, and we'll see everybody next time.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. We thank everyone for joining. Keep hustling, keep learning, and never settle for anything less than your best. Remember, the path to perfection is a journey, not a destination. Until next time.